Dan, RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. The Power of Awareness, of course, an infamous Neville Goddard book that I've been talking a lot about lately. Chapter 8 is called Renunciation. And as you can see from the title, removing unwanted things from our lives. This is, I think, it's kind of a weird one, first off. It's a little more of his religious-y stuff, which is fine with me. I don't mind that. Maybe to some people it might be tough. But he covers one real key topic that was something I learned a long time ago. I want to say it was maybe Neil Donald Walsh, might have been could have been Richard Bach, not sure. It was one of these guys that talked about the way we manifest is by what we think, what we say, and what we do. And the power of those, thinking is the least powerful, and doing, acting as if you already have that which you believe, right? The doing part, when you're doing something towards your manifestation, it's actually a very powerful way of manifesting. So if you're doing as if you have it already, is much, much stronger than thinking like you have it already. Feeling it, what you do, what you say, and saying is speaking about it, right? So all these things kind of come in together and really do affect the way we manifest. This is the first time I recall seeing Goddard kind of bring it up, and he does it in a sort of different way. And I know, again, he's read some of the same esoteric stuff that I've definitely read. He was actually studying with the people that I've read. They're all dead now, but very, very powerful. So hopefully you enjoy it. And it's a shorter chapter, but it's powerful. And it's something that I think if we truly understand, we actually start to make an enormous difference in our lives and our manifesting lives and what we experience. Like, this is one of the key ingredients to really shaping a more enjoyable life. And certainly it helps bring things and attract things to you. It helps kind of get your energy in that better place, right? They say we attract what we're vibrating at. We attract what our energy's at. We attract what we are already. This kind of helps, I think, elevate that a little bit. So let's get into it. Real couple good quotes right up front. There is no coal of character so dead that it will not glow and flame if but slightly turned. Meaning, there's no piece of coal where it's like it's not burning, and then if you just turn it a little bit, and it catches back fire. People are the same way. Just because someone is completely suckage 99% of the time, there's that 1% of the time where they're not, and vice versa. Even super nice people occasionally kick puppies. It's the way it works. Now, they probably don't really kick puppies. Come on, I'm just joking. But they do mess up things, right? All good people do some bad stuff, and all bad people do some good stuff. It's the yin and yang of life, or the yin and yang of life. So resist not evil. Whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. Just because someone wrongs you doesn't mean it's okay to wrong them back, right? Kind of take it. Take the hit. Be like, all right, if you really feel like hurting me, smack the other cheek. I mean, obviously, it's kind of more metaphoric than something you really want to do. But ultimately, if someone smacks your cheek, it's not necessarily going to benefit you or them or anybody else if you turn it into an all-out brawl. So that's kind of where he's starting to get it just right off the bat. So there is a great difference between resisting evil and renouncing it. When you resist evil, you give it your attention. You continue to make it real. When you renounce evil, you take your attention from it and give your attention to what you want. Now is the time to control your imagination. One thing that kind of popped into my head when I first read this, okay, is the difference between resisting evil and renouncing it, right? So if you resist something, if you resist anything, it persists. So by resisting it, you keep giving it attention, but you keep saying, I want you to go away, evil. I want you to go away, evil. But you keep looking at the evil instead of, oh, look at all the good stuff that's going on. Now I'm not focused on the evil at all, right? I'm focused on the good stuff, the opposite of the evil. So by giving attention to that, I'm renouncing the evil by ignoring it. And one thing that made me think about this, I'm just throwing this out there. This is something to think about, a little thought experiment, if you will, maybe. But say you're somebody that your whole life purpose is to help homeless people. To help homeless people, you'll go out into cities and you help homeless people get back maybe into shelters. You maybe help them get off drugs. You help them, right? You help them get back on their feet, which is a very super noble cause, right? But from what Goddard's talking about here, and it's true, and I kind of want you to walk with me, because again, there's nothing wrong with being the altruistic one that wants to help homeless people. But the problem is your entire method of existence, your entire focus, the thing that you feel like you're here to do, in order for you to do that, it requires homeless people to exist. If all homeless people went away, well, then your whole plan of helping homeless people goes away. Your whole purpose for living no longer exists. So it's kind of a weird catch-22, right? I'm trying to do something altruistic. I'm trying to help people, but at the same time, now I'm requiring that problem to continue so I can help it. If it went away, I wouldn't be able to help it. It's kind of an interesting way to look at it. I'm curious what you guys think. Give beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. You give beauty for ashes when you concentrate your attention on things as you would like them to be, rather than on things as they are. You give joy for mourning when you maintain a joyous attitude, regardless of unfavorable circumstances. You give praise for the spirit of heaviness when you maintain a confident attitude instead of succumbing to despondency. In this quotation, the Bible used the word tree as a synonym for man. You become a tree of righteousness when the above mental states are a permanent part of your consciousness. You are planting of the Lord when all of your thoughts are true thoughts. When you focus your thoughts, when you keep your thoughts in the true sense, in the positive sense, in the way that's benefiting, seeing the small glimmer of hope in that person that's hopeless. When you come about life and sort of have that kind of, there must be a reason for this challenge that faces me right now, or there must be some good left in this individual, or there must be some positive that I can take away from this horrible situation. When we start to appreciate that life is not a mistake, that things don't happen by accident, but yet happen to us by what we attract to us, by what we need to evolve, by what we're asking to manifest. Like, there's a number of things. We've talked about it before. You're certainly consciously manifesting a lot of stuff, but we're also unconsciously manifesting some stuff. And sometimes stuff just has to happen because it maybe forces us into a different direction, maybe causes us to quit a job, so we end up finding another. Right? It can have consequences that benefit us. Sometimes when things look the bleakest, it's actually a change that's occurring so you can have the dreams and hopes that you're looking for. Sometimes when we're about to manifest something new and big and change, we go through this weird metamorphosis. We're like a caterpillar crawling into a cocoon, right? We come out a very different creature. We still sort of have a little bit of a caterpillar look to us, but we got these gorgeous wings. We've changed. We're much, much different than we were prior. So it's a very powerful thing when you can really start to interact with life around you, knowing that your consciousness is what is bringing it to you. So when you have discovered your own controlled imagination to be your savior, your attitude will be completely altered without any diminution of religious feeling. And you will say your controlled imagination. Finally, this last little part he gets into. Behold this vine. I found it a wild tree, whose wanton strength had swollen into irregular twigs. But I pruned the plant, and it grew temperate in its vain expense to useless leaves, and nodded, as you see, into these full, clean clusters to repay the hand that wisely wounded it. Makes no sense when you think about it, but let's listen to what Goddard says, because he kind of follows up with a cool little thing. He pulls some, again, the poetry that he uses is like crazy, right? And then he writes some crazy stuff on top of it, and then that leaves me the chance to try to demystify the crazy, if you can. By vine is meant your imagination. So behold this vine, I found it a wild tree, right? This wild, crazy imagination, this crazy imagination running amok with no pruning, right? No, we've talked about the garden shears, the pruning shears of revision, right? If you've got this wild amok imagination. So by vine is meant your imagination, which in its uncontrolled state expends its energy in useless or destructive thoughts and feelings. But you, just as the vine is pruned by cutting away its useless branches and roots, prune your imagination by withdrawing your attention from all unlovely and destructive ideas and concentrating on the ideal you wish to attain. The happier, more noble life you will experience will be the result of wisely pruning your own imagination. Yes, be pruned of all unlovely thoughts and feelings, that you may think truly, and thy thoughts shall the world's famine feed. Speak truly, and each word of thine shall be fruitful seed. Live truly, and thy life shall be great and noble creed. When I talked about what you think, what you say, and what you do, Goddard follows up right at the very end. I'll say it one more time because it's very, very profound, and in far fewer words than I'm capable of ever explaining anything, he says this so succinctly, and it's just beautiful. Think truly, and thy thoughts shall the world's famine feed. Speak truly, and each word of thine shall be fruitful seed. Live truly, and thy life shall be a great and noble creed. If we think our thoughts in line with where we're trying to go, if we think about the things that we would like to experience, not what's happening wrong, not the third party, not thinking about how they're not with us currently, not thinking about how we don't have that $1 million in our bank yet, not thinking about how we don't have the house yet, not thinking about how the house I currently live in sucks and it's not nice, right? It's focusing on what I do want. If I'm looking for a new house, then I'm imagining this new house. I'm talking about this new house. I'm driving by. I'm going to the open houses, right? To walk into the house and check it out. I'm thinking about it. I'm talking about it, and I'm doing stuff about it. I'm out looking for a house. The same is true with your relationships. You're thinking about the positive movement in the forward direction, whatever that may be. You're talking about it, certainly with yourself and maybe some of your very discreet friends that aren't going to give you a hard time about it, though we frequently talk about don't really say stuff to others about what you're manifesting. But saying it out loud to yourself, hearing yourself say it, that counts. You're saying it out loud. You're talking about things like it's real, which it is. But again, you're speaking about it. And then in the case of the relationship, doing stuff about it. Does that mean maybe getting some nicer clothes? Does that maybe finishing up your education so you can help support a family? Does that maybe mean cleaning up your place, making room so they can move in? Does that maybe mean reading some relationship books because maybe your last relationship didn't go really well and you weren't very sensitive and you need to sort of learn a little bit? By the way, Marianne Williamson, even though she was running for president, Return to Love, one of my favorite books. I read that when I was going through a major breakup, and I'll tell you what, that book for me, especially if you're a guy, that book was huge. Return to Love, Marianne Williamson. Awesome book. So again, when we focus on the things we want, when we talk about the things we want, when we do the things we want or do stuff that's at least towards what it is that I want to do, then we're going to create those outcomes, period. That's the only thing that can happen. But if we constantly spend time looking at the stuff that we don't like and casting seeds of doubt into our own imagination, then that is what we're going to manifest. Doubt, limitation, lack, that's what you manifest when that's what you focus on. When you focus on the fact that I do create my own reality, that this is happening. However you need to phrase that. I know some people have asked recently, well, so I go through all this imaginal stuff, and then when I'm done imagining, and then I walk out into the real world, well, it's like I can't pretend that he's with me right now. It's like, that's not so much what you're supposed to do when it's living in the end. Like, yeah, you don't have him this very second. You don't need to pretend that he's here with you this very second. That's silly. He's not. Your mind's not going to accept that. But you talk about the fact that we are together. You see restaurants, you're like, we're going to go and eat there. I mean, it's just going to be wonderful. I can see us doing this. I remember when we weren't hanging out. Like, all these things can pop up as neat little techniques that you can say to get you through those moments where you are challenged, where you find yourself getting negative and thinking about oh, they just don't like me. Oh, whoa, catch yourself. Catch yourself and think of something else. Have an affirmation that you can go to. Instantly go, no, things are working out. We're together. Things are coming together. I can see us. I can, just whatever you have to do to shift your thoughts. We have been trained as a society to let our thoughts guide us. And the reason for that is our thoughts are very easy to manipulate and very easy to control. And when we follow our thoughts, we walk around like neat little robots. What the trick is learning to lead your thoughts. You decide where your thoughts go. Then you decide what happens to you. You take control of your life. That is the power that Neville's talking about. And that is really what this simple chapter is speaking about. What you think, what you say, and what you do is what you are creating. What is it that you're thinking? What is it that you're saying? What are you doing? Dan Radio Style.